Hello and welcome back to the Rise and Shine podcast. I'm your host, Haley Jacob, and today we're going to be digging into a little bit and actually just scratching the surface on God's protection and guidance. So grab your coffee, find your comfiest chair, and let's rise and shine. Guys, welcome back to Rise and Shine. I am so happy that you guys are here. I just feel so blessed that we have the ability to spread the good news, that God gave us a part in spreading the good news of Jesus. I just think that's so cool. He didn't have to give us a role in that, but he wanted to. He wanted to share that with us. I don't know. That's just cool. Anyway, this morning I felt the Lord tell me to read. I've been reading in Isaiah, and that's where I've been spending my quiet time, is in Isaiah. And I haven't gotten here yet. So I'm in Isaiah like 42-ish, I think. But this morning I felt the Lord say, go to 52. And I was like, well, God, that's skipping like 10 chapters. Like I'm missing some. He's like, no, go to 52 today. And so I did, and 52 is, in my Bible, titled, God Redeems Jerusalem. It's telling Jerusalem to wake up, get up, move out of your misery because God is redeeming you. Get up, shake the dust off of you, and move into the goodness that God has for you. But then and I think this is where God was leading me, and it's verse 12. And it says, for you shall not go out with haste, nor go by flight. For the Lord will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard. So and I was like, okay, Lord, this is why you had me go to 52, because all week, God has been talking to me about how he goes before us, how there is nowhere that we can go that he doesn't already know, that he hasn't already been. And it's a form of protection, and it's a form of guidance. And so this morning when I read that, here's the note that I wrote in my Bible. And it says, God has already seen what lies next. He is in front of you for guidance and for assurance. So he's in front of us. So he's already in our future. He sees our future. In fact, he holds the future in his hands. He knows where we're going to go. He already sees every step that you're going to take. So when we look and we see God go before us, that gives us, one, guidance on where to go, because we want to follow where he is. We don't want to look and see God go this way and then go that way, right? That's guidance. He's guiding us too. And then, but for assurance, when we see that God has gone before us, we can be assured that our path, he knows everything along our path. He knows everything that's going to happen along our pathway. So nothing is going to surprise him. So we can be assured that, yes, there may be obstacles in our path, but God has already seen those, and God has already made a way around those obstacles. And then after that, I wrote, so he is in front of you for guidance and assurance, and behind you for protection and security, because the verse says, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard, will guard you from behind. Because when you are looking forward, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be looking forward towards God, towards Jesus, right? Our eyes, our mind, our focus is on him. And because our focus is on him, we don't have to worry about what's behind us. We don't have to worry about the enemy striking us from behind because we are looking forward, yes, but we trust, because we see him before us, we trust that he is behind us, protecting us from behind. We don't have to worry about a sneak attack. We don't have to worry about getting caught off guard, because God does not get caught off guard. We may get caught off guard, but God does not get caught off guard. So that is something I'm just like, Lord, thank you for this verse that you brought me here this morning, because he's been speaking that to me all week. And for myself, but for other people as well, he's been speaking to that. And so that was just, for me, a confirmation that, okay, yeah, I I can trust that God is before me and behind me and all around me. And we don't have to worry about anything attacking us, because one, no weapon formed against us shall prosper, because he is before us and behind us as a guide and as a light and as a way, but also as protection and security. He's our security guard too. And so this verse, when I was thinking about it and when I was processing it, I was reminded of the story of Moses in the Exodus out of Egypt. And literally, God was a pillar and a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night as their guide, like in physical form. So these two verses, or these two stories, I guess I should say, because it's more than one verse, just show and prove and go hand in hand that God is there. He knows your way. He knows everything that's going to happen, and he's going to be protecting you all along the way. I want to read this story. You guys have probably heard this story because it's the story of Moses. It's the story of the parting of the Red Sea, but maybe you've only heard it. Maybe you've never actually read it in the Bible for yourself. And so I want to read this. And so I do encourage you that as I'm reading, don't let me just read to you unless you're driving. Like, don't do it if you're driving. Come back and re-listen. But I want you to grab your Bible if you have one. If you don't have one, then just really sit and listen and focus on the words as if you're reading it along, okay? I'm going to start in Exodus. It's going to be a longer passage because I really want this to like sink in. I'm going to start in chapter 13, verse 17. And this is after all of the plagues in Egypt. And this is when Pharaoh finally says, like, okay, go. But then he changes his mind. So this is like right as he's changing his mind. So verse 17, then it came to pass when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God did not lead them by way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For God said, lest perhaps the people change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up in orderly ranks out of the land of Egypt. So there, God even said, like, I'm not going to take them the easy way. I'm not going to go this way because it might be, because he sees the future, he holds the future. He knew that if he took the Israelites that way, that they might get a little scared and it would be too easy for them to turn around. So sometimes when we're following Christ, and we've been talking about this the past several episodes, our path, our journey following Christ is not easy. It is sometimes it feels like, Jesus, you're bringing me through the difficult road. Like, what's going on? But because he knows, sometimes he brings us through those difficulties so that we can't just rely on ourselves. If we go the easy way, then we can, and if everything is easy, then we could tend to be like, oh, well, I'm doing fine. I don't really need God. And then it would be so easy for us to turn back and turn our backs on God and say, oh, I don't need God. This is easy. I got it. Sometimes he brings us walks with us through those trials to teach us to fully rely on him. And that's what he's doing with the Israelites here. He's bringing them through the wilderness, which is not fun. Literally, when wilderness, there's nothing in the wilderness. That's why it's the wilderness, right? And not only is he bringing them in the wilderness, to get to the wilderness, they have to cross the Red Sea. And they have no boats. There's a lot of them. And so it's like, how are we going to get all these people across? We don't have any boats. We don't have anything. So that's what's happening right now. Verse 19. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had placed, and that's Joseph, like the dream coat Joseph. If you don't know, that's who that is. For he had placed the children of Israel under solemn oath, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here with you. So Joseph prophesied that this was going to happen years and years and years before, that God was going to release the people from Egypt. Verse 20, so they took their journey from Succoth and camped in Etham at the edge of the wilderness. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, so as to go by day and night. He didn't just lead them during the day with a pillar of cloud. Literally, God sent a pillar of a cloud to guide them. They literally could follow God, see that pillar and follow him and know exactly which direction to go. And not only did he do that by day, but in the nighttime, in the dark, he sent a pillar of fire to lead them, to give them light so that they could keep going. God doesn't take a rest. God does not leave you. He does not take breaks. He will send a cloud by day and fire by night to lead you. He did not take away the pillar of cloud by day or the pillar of fire by night from before the people. He didn't take it away. It was always there. They had a constant, never-ending reminder that God was with them. They had a physical, constant reminder that God was with them. And yet they still ended up wandering for 40 years because they're human and they went astray. But they had that constant reminder. God did not give up on them. God did not leave them in their time of need. Okay, chapter 14. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they turn and camp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, opposite Baal-zephon. You shall camp before it by the sea. For Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, They are bewildered by the land. The wilderness has closed them in. Then I will harden the Pharaoh's heart, so that he will pursue them, and I will gain honor over Pharaoh and over all his army, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord. And they did so. So God knew that Pharaoh was going to change his mind. He knew before the Israelites even took a step out of Egypt that Pharaoh was going to change his mind. Again, he goes before us in our journey. He already knows. He knew everything that was going to happen. Verse 5, Now it was told of the king of Egypt that the people had fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? So he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. Also he took 600 choice chariots and all the chariots of Egypt, with captains over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with boldness. So the Egyptians pursued them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, his horsemen and his army, and overtook them camping by the sea beside Pi-hahiroth before Baal-zephon. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. So they were very afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. Then they said to Moses, Because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you dealt so with us, to bring us up out of Egypt? Is this not the word that we told you in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness. These people literally had a physical reminder that God is guiding them. And literally as they're saying these words, I'm sure that either whether it was by day or by night, I'm sure as those words were coming out of their mouth, either the pillar of cloud or the pillar of fire was chilling like not too far from them. Like they literally could see it as they were speaking those words, but they still blamed Moses and said, look what you did. These people are chasing us now. We could have stayed and we were slaves, but we could have stayed. At least we would have not died here out in the wilderness. We would have died as slaves. What are you doing? And all the while, they see God's guidance right there in front of them. Verse 13, and Moses said to the people, do not be afraid. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. One of my favorite verses is where it says, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Moses is saying that even now. Stand still and see what God is going to do. Know that he is going to save you even this day. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall see again no more forever. You might see it today, but because God is about to win this, you won't see it ever again. Because when God wins, when God does something, it's forever. God wins forever. Yeah? God doesn't fail. God doesn't just win sometimes. God wins forever. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Be still and know that I am God. The Lord will fight for you. The Lord is before you. He sees where you're going, and he also is your rear guard and will fight any attack that is coming up behind you. The Egyptians were literally physically coming up behind the Israelites, but God saw that it was going to happen, and he's going to protect them. He was their rear guard. He is your rear guard. Verse 15, and the Lord said to Moses, why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward, but lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I indeed will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. So I will gain honor over Pharaoh and over all his army, his chariots, and his horsemen. Then the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gained honor for myself over Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. So the reason the Israelites were freaking out is because they had the Egyptians behind them. And if you remember, they were encamped by the sea. So the sea was before them. And they're like, where are we going? That's why they were mad at Moses. They're like, okay, we're trapped. You've caught us. You've got us trapped between a big old giant sea and a ton of Egyptians who are really mad because they changed their minds and they want us back as slaves. But God saw that the sea was going to be the obstacle. God knew that was the obstacle ahead of them, and he had a plan. He already had a plan to how to get them through the obstacle, to how to get them through the Red Sea. And that plan was a miraculous dividing of a literal sea. Literally, he's asking Moses to reach out his rod, and the sea is going to separate, and the Israelites will walk on dry ground from one side of the sea to the next, with walls of water on each side of them. He had a way. He already had a way prepared before they set foot outside of Egypt. He knew, he's like, I'm not going to take them this way. I'm going to take them this way, and they're going to run into this, and this, and they're going to kind of freak out. But this is my plan. He knew it. He knew it ahead of time. He knows what you're going to struggle with ahead of time. He knows your obstacles ahead of time. However, he has already made a way for you around or through or above or under those obstacles. He's made a way. All you have to do is ask him for the guidance through that obstacle, because the way is already there. It's already there. He's already prepared it. You just have to let him guide you to it. Verse 19, and the angel of God who went before the camp of Israel moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went from before them and stood behind them. So the pillar of cloud that was their guide now became their rear guard. It moved, it went from in front of them to behind them so that he could act as protection and security. So he's our guide, but also he's our protection and our security. He's both. So it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. Thus it was a cloud and the darkness to the one, and it gave light by night to the other, so that the one did not come near and the other all that night. So he literally came in between the two camps. And on one side of him, on the Egyptian side of him, it was darkness to them. He clouded their vision. He blinded them so that they could not see the Israelites. But on the other side of the camp, on that flip side where the Israelites were, the same cloud that acted as a blinder to the enemy was light to them, was a guiding light to the Israelites. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into dry land, and the waters were divided. So the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on the dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. God is before you, behind you, on each side of you. He didn't let the waters on either side of them fall on them and sweep them away. And the Egyptians pursued them and went after them into the midst of the sea, and all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. So they're walking on dry ground in the middle of the sea, seeing walls of water on each side of them. And then before they can make it to the other side, the Egyptians start to try this too. They start walking on the dry land in the middle of the sea. Verse 24, now it came to pass in the morning watch that the Lord looked down upon the army of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and cloud, and he troubled the army of the Egyptians, and he took off their chariot wheels so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Egyptians said, let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians. God literally destroyed their chariots. He's like, I separated the waters for them, so I'm gonna destroy your chariots, take the wheels off, mess it around a little bit. Then the Lord said to Moses, stretch out your hand over the sea that the waters may come back upon the Egyptians, on their chariots and on their horsemen. So while they're trying to get out, because they see, oh, something's happening here, I don't want to mess with this. Our chariots are broken. They're trying to flee. They're trying to go back. And so while that's happening, God tells Moses, okay, reach your staff back out so that the waters can come in on them. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and when the morning appeared, the sea returned to its full depth while the Egyptians were fleeing into it. So the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. Then the waters returned and covered the chariots, the horsemen, and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. Not so much as one of them remained. But the children of Israel had walked on dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. So the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Thus Israel saw the great work which the Lord had done in Egypt. So the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. So no matter what you're walking through, no matter where you are in life, God has already gone before you. God has already seen everything that you will walk through, everything you will do, every step that you will take. He's seen every obstacle that will try to get in your way, and he has already decided a way around that obstacle. And not only is he giving you a way through, and not only can you trust that he's walked this path before you, and that he's laid this path out in front of you to follow him. And not only can you look up and see the cloud by day and the fire by night, but you can also trust that he's behind you and guarding you. All you have to do is follow him. Follow him, walk with him, be like Jesus, walk in the path that Jesus has laid out. He is the way, the truth, and the life. So walk with Jesus, follow God, and he will be your rear guard. He will fight your battles. He will have a wall surrounding you so that you can walk on dry land through whatever sea that you might be walking on. And you'll see the waters on either side. You'll see. I love the movie The Prince of Egypt. And one of my favorite scenes is this scene, and they're walking through, and there's a little girl with like a grandma, and she's walking, and she looks at the wall of water, and she can see a giant like fish, like a huge whale probably. It's a huge fish, and she sees that whale, the shadow of that whale, like move past her, and it kind of scares her. But the grandma like grabs her hand, and they trust in the Lord. The grandma encourages her, and that's such a beautiful picture, is because sometimes you can see the sea around you, but God has created a safe pathway through that. And I love it. So if you haven't seen that movie, go see it. I really want to see the musical too. There's a new musical, I think it's like newish, out of that movie. And it's really good. But that's something that God has been speaking to me about, like I said, for myself, but also for some other people, that he knows. He sees you. He sees what you're walking through. He sees what you will walk through. He's your guiding light. If you follow him, we trust we're walking in the right way. And also, if you follow him, you know that he's behind you as well, guarding you, protecting you. You might see the battle around you. You might see the waters rising up on either side, but he's the one holding the waters back on either side. I hope that you look for the cloud by day and the fire by night. I hope that you open your eyes to where God is leading you. If you feel like you're wandering around a little bit, feel like maybe you're going through a trial and you don't know which way to go, look for where God is leading you and trust that he's got your back. He's got your back. All right, now go out there and shine.